All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy 4th of July. Um, let's go ahead and get going. Um, we'll kind of start in a posture and let everybody get together with us, join us. So we're going to start on our backs. Okay, so kind of up to you what you want to do with your feet. So you can bring the bottoms of the feet together, let those knees open up wide, or you can bring the feet wide and the knees come together. It's going to be a little bit more relaxing posture, going feet wide, knees together. So if that's what you feel like you need, go for it. Or if you want to get right into it with that big stretch, go ahead and bring those feet together, knees wider. And just close down your eyes. And just pause it for a few breaths here. Feeling that rise of the belly, that rise of the chest with that inhale. And exhaling that breath out, just nice and slow. As you exhale all that air out, let yourself feel really heavy, really supported, really grounded. Big breath in. Get that nice relaxing exhale. Maybe you got a lot going on today, so just use this as your time, your moment of calm, maybe before the craziness of the holiday. And then go ahead and guide those knees together. So you can use those hands to bring the knees in, bring the feet about hip distance apart, and bring those arms out to a T. And we're just going to drop those knees over to the right side. Left shoulder is going to stay down, keeping that core tight. And then inhale, bring it back to center as we switch sides. So dropping the knees over to that left side as that right shoulder stays down. Keeping that core tight. So if there's any pain in that low back, really making sure that we're keeping the core engaged, taking some of that pressure off the back. Good, bring it back to center, and then we'll go again over to that right side. And center, over to the left side. Good, bring it back to center. Now this time we're gonna cross that right ankle over that left knee. Let's hug that knee in. So grabbing onto that left hamstring, okay, interlacing those fingers, holding that knee into the chest. So you want to keep that tailbone grounded down. If that tailbone can stay down and you want more of a stretch, grab onto that shin. That might be a little aggressive this morning, so just kind of feel it out. Go ahead and lower that foot back down, reach out the arms. We want that ankle to stay crossed over, and then we're going to pull those knees, pull those knees over to the right side. So extend that left arm out. That's going to help keep you balanced so you don't roll all the way over like I just about did. And bring it back to center. Switching sides. So again, we'll cross that left ankle over, hugging that knee in. So we'll grab onto that right hamstring this time. And this left foot, we want to keep it flexed. If you can keep that tailbone grounded down and you want a little bit more stretch, just go ahead and grab onto that shin. Go ahead and release that foot down. You keep that left ankle crossed over. Tee out those arms. So really reach out through that right hand as we pull those knees over to that left side. Okay, go ahead and bring that knee back to center. Okay, go ahead and uncross the legs. We can keep the knees bent. We're gonna roll over onto your left side to start. So you can kind of see me. So now my knees are gonna be forward, right? It's gonna help you balance. Keep that head neutral. So we're gonna take this right hand, grab onto that foot. So we do this standing if you've taken my classes before. So first, bring the knees together first. So again, we don't want that foot hiked up. We want to pull that heel down so it's right behind that right glute or butt cheek. And then press that foot into that hand, pull that knee back. Now, when the left knee is forward, that's going to help keep that spine neutral. So still keep that core nice and tight, taking that arch out of the low back as we continue to press that foot back into the hand. So feeling that big stretch. You should feel it through that front part of that right thigh. One more breath, keep pulling, nice and gently. And we'll go ahead and release it. Let's go ahead and roll out over to that other side. That right arm is going to support your head. All right, again, so the knees are forward, kind of like you're in the fetal position a little bit. We're going to reach for that foot. And draw the knees together, pull that heel right behind that glute, and then start to press that foot into the hands, pulling that knee back, keeping that core nice and tight. So we want a nice flat low back. And this side might feel a little bit different. I know it does for me. Really breathing through it, staying active, pressing that foot into the hand, holding that leg back a little bit more, maybe even flexing that left glute, that left butt cheek. And go ahead and release it. So we roll over onto the backs again. Pressing those feet into the mat. We're going to lift those hips up, coming into our hip bridge. Okay, so start with that neutral, spine neutral pelvis. Press and roll those hips up, lifting up one vertebrae at a time. Big extension out through those hip flexors, holding that rib cage down, scooping that tailbone up towards the ceiling. And slowly roll those hips down. The tailbone will be the last thing that lowers. Hug those knees in, and then we'll rock forward and back. So come up to a seat first, and then roll it around, coming onto the hands and knees. And we're just going to send those hips up and back to our first downward facing dog. So take a minute, pedal those feet out, sway those hips, any movements that you need. Staying with that breath, that nice big breath in and out through the nose. Pressing into those palms, pressing those hips up to the ceiling, nice flat back, slight bend in those knees, then we can press those heels down towards the mat. And now we'll come onto the toes. Bend into those knees, stepping those feet to the top of the mat. Sliding those hands up the shins into that half lift, so nice flat back. But exhale, we'll slide those hands down as we fold. We're gonna do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, fold. And inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, go ahead and rise all the way up to standing. Reach it up nice and tall, lowering that right hand down as we reach that left arm up and over into that side stretch. Inhale, we'll reach it back up, and we'll go to the other side, lowering that right arm down, left arm down, right arm reaches up and over. I'll mirror you guys. And then inhale those arms back up, draw those elbows down. We're gonna interlace those fingers behind the back, open up through that chest. Now we're gonna throw in a new one we don't do very often. So reach those arms out to a T. We're gonna bring your left arm underneath your right. Okay, start here. Just giving yourself a little hug. Now, bring those elbows so they're past each other. If you can get to that point. If you're having a hard time just even getting here, maybe you just stay here in this position, that's fine. Okay, or you can start to bring the backs of the hands together here. So if they're touching, that's great. Okay, then maybe, it's hard to see, but you're crossing those hands again. Okay, so then core is tight, rib cage pulls down, lifting those elbows up, and then kind of roll your shoulders down and back. Stay with that breath. And go ahead and release those arms out to the T, other side. So that right arm's gonna sweep underneath the left. Okay, give yourself a hug first, and back to the hands together, then palms come together, okay? Or any of the modifications above. So rib cage down, lifting through those elbows. Keep breathing. Good, go ahead and release those arms up overhead. Exhale, reaching for those toes. Inhale, find that flat back. And exhale, we'll plant those hands down, stepping those feet back to our plank. Shift that weight forward as we lower it down. Point those toes, roll the shoulders down and back as we lift that chest up into our cobra. Or you could always press into that up dog if your spine is ready for that. And then exhale, we'll send those hips back to the sky. Downward facing dog. And then inhale on the toes. Bend those knees. Let's just do this one more time. Step those feet, top of the mat. Inhale the half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we'll rise to standing. Exhale, side bend it over to that right side. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale it to the left side. Inhale, bring it back up. Now draw those elbows down as we interlace those fingers behind the back. Open that chest. A lot of shoulder stretches today. And now reach those arms out to the T. Bring that left arm underneath the right. Maybe bring those palms together, lifting through those elbows, and then maybe bringing those hands away from the face a little bit more. So we'll feel that oblique stretch in between those shoulder blades. And then bring those arms out to a T. Other side, right arm comes underneath the left. Lifting through those elbows. Now when we lift through the elbows, try not to arch through the back. Keep that core tight. And bring those hands away from the face. And release those arms up overhead. Exhale, fold. Flat back on that inhale. And exhale, we'll plant those hands down. Step those feet back to our plank. Lower it down. Inhale, lift. And exhaling those hips up and back. Downward facing dog. And now come onto the toes. We're going to step those feet again, top of the mat. Half lift on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. And exhale, shake those hips down. Ooh, excuse me. Into our chair. Bringing those hands to heart center. We're going to cross that left ankle over that right knee. Sliding those hips back into that figure four. So if you need a wall next to you to balance or to help you balance, go ahead and scoot yourself on over. Now bring it back up. We're gonna step that foot back and lower that knee down. So we're coming into that lunge. Inhaling those arms up, rib cage down, pressing those hips forward. So again, stretching out through that front part of that leg. Those quads, those hip flexors. And then lower those hands down, straighten that front leg, move into those half splits. Now we'll bend into that front knee. Go ahead and step those feet forward, reaching those arms up. And we're gonna sink right into our chair. Hands will come to heart center. We're gonna cross that right ankle over. Sit those hips back, flexing that foot. Finding that still spot is gonna help you to focus, help you to balance, and keeping that core tight helps. And gripping those left toes into the mat. So the toes, the balls, the feet, the heels are all super grounded. And then bring it back up. I'm gonna take that big step back with that right foot. That knee is gonna lower down. Then inhale those arms up overhead. So rib cage pulls down as we press those hips forward. One more breath. And straighten that front leg. Lower those hands down to the ground. So nice flat back as we fold. And now rebend into that knee. We're going to step those feet to the top of the mat, finding a forward fold. And inhale, come back up to standing. Reach those arms up. Hey, now bring the hands to heart center. We're going to get a little tricky here. So your choice if you do it or not. We're going to go into a little eagle pose, which I think is appropriate for the day, even though it can be kind of challenging. So just do your best. Okay, so starting with crossing that left ankle over that right knee, send the hip back. Okay, now we're gonna reach those, let's see if I mirror you guys. Here we go. So sitting that ankle over, okay, reach those arms out to a T. So again, that left knee is crossed over, that left arm is gonna go underneath. So again, maybe we're here, back to the hands or here. Okay, so this is the first step of that eagle. Okay, now if you want to stay here, great. If you want to take it a step forward, slide that knee across, and then maybe you hook those toes around as we sink those hips down nice and low. A lot of crisscrossing going on. A lot of balance here. Maybe focus, hold it here, breathe for a couple seconds. Again, if you need to step out of it or go back into just that regular figure four, that is totally fine. And slowly come back out of it, and then I can take that big step back with that foot, back knee lowers down. I know my feet are wrong, that's okay. Rib cage pulls down, pressing those hips forward and down. And then we'll lower those hands down. Straighten that front leg as we fold. And then we bend into that knee, stepping those feet forward. Then half lift on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we'll rise to standing and sinking those hips down into that chair again. Okay, bringing those hands to heart center. So now it's gonna be your right ankle that crosses over into that figure four. Now, reaching those arms up, out to our T. So since that right leg is on top, we're gonna bring that right arm underneath. So again, maybe we're in the hug, maybe the backs of the hands, maybe the palms come together. So lift those elbows out, up, sink those hips down a little more. And then maybe we cross that ankle, or we cross the knees. Ooh, this side's a little harder. Cross or hooking those toes behind that ankle. Sink those hips down a little bit lower. 2 or 3 more breaths. And slowly make your way out of it, reaching, ooh, nope, I forgot, stepping that foot back, lower that knee down, kind of come into that lunge, reaching those arms up, rib cage down, and press those hips forward. Okay, now we'll lower the hands down. Straighten that front leg, pulling those toes back as we fold. Now we'll bend into that knee, stepping those feet forward, coming into that forward fold. And now lower those hands down, step it back to a down dog. Few breaths here, stretch out through those calves. And let's bring that right knee to that right wrist. Foot comes across, a couple breaths into that pigeon. Lower onto those forearms, resting those the head down onto your hands. So just gently pulling that right knee back, left knee's pulling forward. About the idea of scissoring through those legs. And then come back onto those hands. Send it back down dog. And then let's go to the other side. So step that left knee through the left wrist, foot comes across to that right side of the mat. And then lower onto those forearms when you're ready, and resting the head down. So a gentle pressure, pressing that left shin into the mat and pull it back. Right knee is pulling forward. And then come back onto those hands. Just go ahead and swing it around. So we're gonna come from there just into a seat. Rest those hands on the knees. We're just gonna pause this for a breath or two, closing down those eyes. I'm gonna say or two, I mean like 5. So big breath in through the nose. And slow out through the nose. And your own big breath in. And out. Inhaling those arms up overhead, reach them nice and tall. Palms meet, hands to heart center. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Have a great 4th of July, a great weekend, and I will see you all back on Monday.